Hello, Secret Place watchers. It is Jordan here. Welcome back. Glad you're here. So we ended the last video talking about the ways that we love. Oh, I don't know if you just heard that, a laugh. The girls are in there FaceTiming a friend, actually Alexandria. So shout out to Alex and Justin, and congrats who just got engaged. We're so excited for you guys. So if you hear some noise, that would be them in the background. But anyway, so in the last video, we talked about love and how God really gives us an order to love, and how a lot of times we mix that order up. And I think a lot of times we think we should love others first, as you know, oftentimes we hear that commandment, love others as you love yourself, and we translate that as love others before yourself. But actually, when you read it the way that it's written in Scripture, Jesus commands, love others as you love yourself. And so therefore, you have to love yourself first before you are able to love others as you love yourself, before you're able to give that kind of love. You have to know what it looks like first. And so we talked about that order being love God and know God. And then when you're able to do that, you're able to love and know yourself, since He created you and made you in His image. And so love God and then love yourself. And then where we ended was, once you are able to do those things, then you're able to love others. And that's what I want to pick up with today, because loving others is something that's not easy. And this is such a cliche topic when you hear it right off the bat. We all talk about it all the time, and we hear it so much, but look at the world around us. No one is really, really doing it, really, really putting it into practice in the way that Jesus commanded. And that is why we're seeing so much disorder and so much corruption. And not even just within the world with like these big catastrophic events that are happening, but also just within people and within our generations. When we kind of like take a closer look into people individually and these generations as a whole, the rise of depression is the highest that it's ever been, especially within our youth and within our teens. And just go online and Google the statistics on suicide and depression, and you will see how within this year and the past couple years, we have hit the highest that has ever been. So we look at that. We look at how highly medicated everybody is today. I mean, what is the root of that? Okay, there is all of these things, all this chaos, all this disorder. My word for everything is off, OFF. And this has been for years, the past few years. Everything seems off. And, you know, when you really look at it, you start paying attention to issues, to getting to the root of things. What God started showing me is that no one, and I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm just saying in general, people really are not loving themselves. First of all, they're not loving God. They're not even giving God time of day. Forget about loving Him. He's not even getting time of day. He doesn't have anybody's attention right now. We are doing the exact opposite and removing Him out of society, out of culture, the most that He has ever been removed from the United States culture, when we look at that and we look at it historically. So, you know, we're taking God out, and we're straying farther from Him. And so there goes that love. The first thing I'll say in general, that we have to love God, we have that all, that's wrong right off the bat. Then we're supposed to love ourselves. Well, when you look at culture and you look at social media and you look at the way that we now have 24-hour access to everyone and to their lives at every second of every day, we also have that also makes us able to compare our lives to everyone else 24 hours a day. And we are only seeing highlights of people's lives, the best parts that aren't even real. We're seeing that all over the internet, all over the social media, which has actually become our social lives now. I mean, people will have 1 million friends on Facebook and be talking to them while they're alone in their room because that's how they're socializing. So it's not really relationship. It's not really community. But we look at that and we look at social media and this, giving us this access to this constant comparison. And right away, everyone's self-esteem is up in a battle. It's in a battle. And we'll talk in our drafted terms of the book Drafted. There's a war that every single one of us face today, living in this society of the internet where it rules all. We're constantly at war against that. So that automatically makes it harder for us to love ourselves and to believe and to know the truth of who we are when in our face is this continuous gateway to comparison, and not only just comparison, but to comparing our lives to lives that don't even exist, to something that isn't even real. So now we have these unrealistic expectations that we think we compare our lives to, and we think we're missing out. We think we're behind where we should be at this stage of life when we see these pictures of people vacationing here or, in this job or the food, the restaurants where people are eating. And, how many pictures of food do we see? I mean, we're constantly seeing these things and saying, I'm missing out. My life is not anything close to that glamorous or looking that fun or exciting. And we automatically have a lower hands. I guess we have a lower hand in the battle of fighting for that love of self. And so all these things constantly are coming at us, knocking that down. And when we don't get that right, when we don't get that love of self right, it will be impossible for us to truly love in the sense of the word love, other people. The way God said, because it says love others as you love yourself. And so if we're not getting the love of self right, it means we're not getting the rest of it right. And here's where I want to really, explain that a little bit, because I had some really good conversations with people after my last post on love of self. And one of the things, this was an awesome question that a friend asked me, is he said, how would you describe love? Like, what if somebody didn't understand love and what that was, like the definition of that, and how would you even explain it? And I was like, whoa, that's a really great question. Love is something that is just kind of, I think, it's assumed a lot, but what is love? And God just showed me this a very long time ago, and I wrote it down. Love, simply, in its most basic form, is seeking the best in someone or something. That's it. Just to continuously, that's key actually, continuously seek the best in. And think about it. When we talk about unconditional love, that is a love that no matter what you do, you think about how a parent loves a child. No matter what that child does, that parent is going to love them. No matter the flaws, no matter their shortcomings, no matter their failures, no matter how mean or how bad or things they say, that child, the things that they say to their parent always sees the best in them. Their parent sees them from these eyes that knows their potential and that knows the heart of that person and knows that that is not their best version of themselves right now. And no, I may not like you in this form right now or like the things you're doing, but it doesn't stop me from loving you. It doesn't stop me from believing that that is not the best of you and that the best is still to be revealed. And so that is simply what love is. It can be a romantic love. It can be, this is why we have all these different kinds of love. It can be friendships. It can be within families. It can be with things. We do love things. Things have sentimental value. It's things that we seek the best in. And when it comes to people, it's simply to seek the best in and to not let our human nature and sin, which we are all susceptible to, which we all get trapped up in time and time again, but it's to look past that and to not let that be the way that we define another person, but rather to say, I see what you can be. I see what I've seen in you before, and I see the best in you. And that is what love really is, and that is what God does for us. He always sees the best in us. That's it. And that's why people say God always loves you. You can never do anything that would stop him from loving you. It's true, because God made you. So when you look at it like a parent loves a child, God made you. He knows what you were made for. He knows what he made you to do. And so when he sees you slip up, when he sees you mess up, when he sees you do something, I don't care how bad or how horrible you think it is, he still looks at you and says, oh, that was just a little bump in the road. I knew you were going to do that anyway, but it's okay, because I know what you're destined to do, because I made you. I know your purpose, and I know the potential that you have. So the question is, can we do that? Can we look at people with those kind of eyes? That is continuously, constantly seeking the best in other people. And this comes around full circle. And this is why we have to love ourselves first, because if we don't love ourselves first, we will not see the best in other people. We will become jealous of the best in other people, because we won't be secure in the truth of who we are. And when you know that you were made a certain way for a certain purpose, and that you will never, it is physically impossible for you to be another person, or for you to have the gifts that another person has, or to do something in the way that another person is doing it. I have identical twin sisters, Madison and Taylor. They have the same DNA, and yet they are different. How do you explain that? And so, when we love ourselves truly and we're secure in that, that's when we're able to then look at others with those same eyes, continuously seeking the best in them, and truly, sincerely, from our hearts, being happy for them, being able to be happy for them when they succeed, instead of thinking, oh, I wish I got that, or I wish I was a little further ahead like they are. No, when you truly love yourself, because you trust in God and you know him and you know how he made you, then you're able to say, good for them. And there's no room for jealousy or comparison, because you know you will never do that or be that person, because that's not you. That's not the truth of who you are. That's not who you were made to be. And so that is how we truly love others. We continuously seek the best, but it only is going to come after you know the best of you, and you know the truth of who you are, and that comes from knowing God, knowing Jesus, and knowing the truth about who he is. Okay, so I know I'm in a little bit of a different outfit here, but that's just because right before I was about to post this video, I had one more thought. And, God was just kind of saying, after you're talking about something about loving everybody, it kind of seems impossible. I mean, when we get into reality and we start thinking about the people that we encounter every day, we think about people who may frustrate us, or, we deal with a million different types of people. And he's like, so, all right, to a lot of people, this loving to all of us, this go out and love everybody, very easily seems impossible. Basically, what he is showing is that you don't have to like someone to love them. And this is really what brings some sense and some reality to everything that I just kind of shared about the importance of loving God, and then loving ourselves, and then loving others. And by loving, we're seeing the best in them. And when you look at it like that, you do realize you don't have to like somebody to love them. You don't have to always want to be around someone, or always be with them, period. You don't have to like them to choose to see the best in them. That is a choice that you get to make, and it really is separate from emotions. So whether or not you like them, you can choose to see a better version of them. You can choose to see the best in them, and to look at that through your eyes, whether or not you like them. And that's pretty incredible. That is really how we can do this thing, how we can live out this great commission, that Jesus commands us to do. He says, love all people. Well, doesn't mean we have to like them to love them. So that's all. Final thoughts from the secret place. I'm off to bed. Catch you next time. Good night.